This story revolves around a loser who is not only weak but also utterly broke. Bullies love picking on him, and the rich chick he is in love with hates him like nothing else. She literally despises him for being economically invisible. But all that changes one day when some unknown virus starts turning people into flesh-eating zombies. In no time, the whole world becomes a post-apocalyptic playground where you gotta survive on your own. It does not matter how much money you had, it is just paper in this desolated world. And as luck would have it, that same chick, Yenna, who used to love tearing our poor guy down, now desperately wants to stick around him just to make sure she survives. But before jumping further into the story, let us rewind to the beginning for better context. It is a usual summer morning. Inside one of the apartment rooms lives our protagonist, Minjin. Looks like bro had a blast the night before playing games with his computer still on. He is currently sound asleep, though his peaceful sleep is soon interrupted by the shrill ringing of a phone alarm. Of course, like most of us, the sound of the alarm is as annoying as it gets. He forces himself to pick up the phone and shut the damn thing off. Since he has school to attend, he drags himself out of bed. When he walks into the kitchen, he sees a note from his mom on the fridge telling him to fend for himself today, because she is already off to work. Not long after, he dresses in his school uniform and steps out of his dimly lit apartment. While he is living in this cheap area, he can't help but stare at the luxury skyscraper across from him. Bro seems to envy the kids living up there while he is stuck in the slums, rotting away in his miserable life. But complaining about life won't ease his struggles, so he starts walking toward his school. The school in question is Seongan High School. It looks like life at school is not much easier for him either. There are, of course, the classic bullies who just pick on him for no reason. They are having fun while Minjin's suffering on the floor. Leading the pack is Park Seongbin, 18 years old, second year class 3. As Seongbin continues to mock our boy, a voice cuts through the air, making Seongbin stop in his tracks. It is some chick along with her entourage of sidekicks. She is not impressed with Seongbin's childish crap. He is always bullying people who are weaker than him. Not that she likes Minjin either. She finds him just as pathetic, but she also thinks Seongbin's making the school look bad with his dumb antics. Her name is Hanyena, also 18 years old, and she is in class 2 section 3. Seongbin quickly starts acting all buddy-buddy with Minjin as if they have been best friends forever. To him, Minjun is just the class mascot, so having some fun with him is not such a big deal. Yen's point still stands. He is causing unnecessary chaos in the hallways, messing up the school's decorum. If Seongbin wants to play around, he can do it outside the school. Seongbin then points out how she is probably the one who hates Minjun the most, but now she is preaching about righteousness. Yenna defends herself, reminding him that while she might find Minjun ugly, she does not hit him physically, unlike Seongbin. We learned that Yana and Minjun are classmates and have known each other since middle school. Just like Minjun knows Seongbin. Moving on, Seongbin invites Yana to tag along because he is meeting some new guy today. But Yana flatly refuses, not forgetting what happened the last time she listened to him. Apparently, the last time they hung out, it was at Minjun's semi-basement apartment. It was smelly, messy, and just screamed poor, so no way she is going there again. The reason this princess has such high standards is that she lives in that high-end apartment complex our boy had been staring at earlier, the same building visible from his place. Her parents are a hospital director and a professional, meaning she was born with a golden spoon in her mouth. She is always posting new pictures on social media and has pretty much everyone in school as her fan. To top it off, she is always acing her classes, dominating not just in looks but in academics as well. There are rumors that she will be moving to the US next year to continue her studies. She sounds like the perfect person with literally no setbacks in her life, but she has one huge problem she can't seem to solve. She absolutely hates weak and broke guys. And guess who fits that description? Yep, it is Minjin. Let us take a quick trip down memory lane to understand where this all started. Back in 8th grade, when Minjin and Yana were in the same class, bro mustered up the courage to talk to her. But she only responded with a tone dripping with disdain and annoyance. To her, he was just a smelly brat who followed her around like a mosquito, and she hated it. Even though their homes were in the same direction, she could not stand walking alongside him. She told him to take a different route, so she would not have to suffer through his smell. It was then that it became crystal clear to Minjin. This chick loathed him with every fiber of her being. And speaking of smells, he noticed that she always smelled nice. For him, it must be the fragrance of wealth. Under normal circumstances, after being humiliated and shut down, most people would start hating the person who did it, but Minjin's feelings towards her were unwavering. Bro was loyal to a fault. He always sat next to her even though she constantly mocked and belittled him with her trash talk. Year after year, same school class, same one-sided crush. Even with her constant ridicule, he never gave up. At some point, he started to question himself. After all, only a crazy person would love a girl who ridicules them every chance she gets. But this has always been Minjin's life, getting physically wrecked by Seongbin, emotionally tortured by Yenna. Welcome to the life of a certified pathetic loser. Later, Minjin is hanging out with his two friends, and both of his friends are just talking about anime, being the otakus they are. The fat one, in particular, seems obsessed with anime, while the scrawny guy next to him Bae Sun-ho has not really been keeping up with the anime scene. Meanwhile, Min-jin's just sitting there in silence, like a background NPC minding his own business. Let me introduce these two. The scrawny one is Bae Sun-ho, 18 years old, and the fat one is Bang Joon, is also the same age. Sun-ho and Bang Joon are in different classes than Min-jun, but they are the only friends who actually share similar personalities with him. The only difference is that they are not the ones being bullied, unlike Min-jun, and Bro is feeling seriously envious of them. The only explanation he can come up with is that they are just lucky, while he is the one who gets all the shit this world has to offer. His train of thought is interrupted when his friends ask if he is interested in going to a Lumina concert. If he is up for it, they will get extra tickets. The model in the phone looks hot, but Min-jun does not care about that stuff anymore. If he is being honest, he has lost his last bit of interest in these idols. Of course, his friends think he is missing out. Now that they think about it, they are starting to notice that Min-jun's been looking like a walking corpse lately. As they walk out, they can't help but throw some colorful remarks about how Min-jun's depressed, for no apparent reason. In class, Min-jun just wants the day to end so he can escape this miserable life. Then he overhears Seong-bin and his gang talking about some random guy who glared back at them when they tried to mess with him. The guy seemed intimidating, but the guys are sure that Seong-bin could have easily drilled him into the ground. Apparently, this guy came all the way from North Korea to South Korea. They are making fun of him for abandoning his parents and running away to save his own skin. As they are talking, the guy they are mocking, Kang Hak-chul, shows up right there and overhears them. And of course, he is not about to take their shit. Seong-bin's ego gets bruised when Hak-seol stares him down like he is nothing, so Seong-bin grabs him by the collar. But that Sigma does not react to this aggressive move. He simply suggests Seong-bin should not speak trash about others without expecting consequences. Seong-bin refuses to let go of his grip. But before things escalate into a full-blown mess, his lackeys step in to calm him down. Eventually, Seong-bin lets Hak-chul go, but not before threatening his life. While this is all going on, Min-jin's just sitting in the background, thinking to himself when he will finally be rid of this hellhole of a school. When school ends, Min-jin walks home, his mind swirling with all sorts of thoughts. He is seriously considering quitting school altogether. It feels like his only option to escape this miserable life. He is set on it. No turning back now. That is when Shang-bin and his goons cross his path. They are actually happy to see him. Shang-bin wants some cigarettes and tells our boy to ask a lady over there to buy them from the convenience store. After all, they are underage and can't buy them themselves. Of course, Min-jin knows this is just another way for Shang-bin to bully him, and he has had enough. Instead of putting up with it, he just ignores them and keeps walking towards home. Shang-bin's pissed that Min-jin is ignoring him. So as expected, he and his goons beat the shit out of Min-jin and dump him in an abandoned construction site. Seong-bin's holding a brick which he used to slam into Min-jin's head over and over again. They are hoping this beating will teach this shit-ass how to obey, but Min-jin's had enough. With his broken and defeated voice, he tells Shang-bin to just kill him. He has lost the will to live. Dying seems like the only way out. For some reason, that response really gets under Shang-bin's skin. He gets even angrier and hits the guy with a kick again. Before leaving, that bastard makes one final threat. If Min-jin ever tries to kill himself and mentions them in his suicide note, he promises to find his mother and unalive her on the spot. With that, they leave Min-jin alone in the construction site, broken and battered. Dawn's creeping over the horizon as Min-jin makes his way home after all that. The only thought in his mind is that he just wants the world to end by tomorrow. But he knows that is not going to happen, so his best option is to climb to the top of that luxury high-rise apartment complex he has been staring at and jump. It will all be over in minutes. With that plan in mind, he starts heading to the complex, ready to end it all. This is when he crosses paths with Yena, the girl who despises him the most. She gets annoyed just by his presence and demands to know why he is wandering around this joint, when it is not even his home. Seeing how banged up he is, she is sure he is not here to deliver anything. Instead, he looks like he is here to pull off some burglary. Of course, she ends up reminding him how pathetic he is. Well, this is exactly why he came. To end it all, once and for all. The girl, on the other hand, starts questioning his bruised-up face, wondering if someone beat him up. She is genuinely pissed that he never stands up for himself, and he just always takes the beatings like the damn dog he is. She goes on this whole rant for a while, and eventually my guy just turns around and walks in the opposite direction of the apartment building. That entitled bitch keeps whining about how he is giving her the cold shoulder. But eventually, she gives up and decides she will pick this conversation back up tomorrow. Later, Min-jin gets back into his smelly and cramped apartment. To blow off some steam, he fires up his PC and throws on his headphones to dive into some video games. Thinking back on everything that just happened, he realizes that she was not even wrong. He really does deserve all the shit she gave him. That is also why he is not going back to school. Like, never ever. Starting tomorrow, he is planning to get a job and help his mom out with the household expenses. Night rolls in and Min-jin is still blasting through enemies in his Seps game, mowing down waves of zombies. Suddenly, friends in the live chat tell him they are done playing and heading off, which makes zero sense to Min-jin. After all, it is only 10 p.m. Still got a good 2 hours before midnight? That is when his friends remind him about the urgent news regarding the breakout. The world outside is in chaos right now, and right on cue, Minjin hears commotion outside. He gets up and cautiously heads to the front door when someone starts knocking persistently. Before opening it, he checks the peephole. It looks like one of his upstairs neighbors asking him to open the door with this shaky-ass voice. Hearing that, Minjin just assumes the dude is drunk again, but little does he know that man is not his drunk neighbor anymore. He makes the mistake of opening the gate. First thing he notices is blood all over the guy's body with a massive wound torn across his belly. Even then, Minjin thinks the guy must have gotten seriously hurt and considers calling emergency services, but then the zombified man lets out this ungodly screech before lunging at Minjin. They both crash down, the zombie dude on top of him. Minjun finally kicks him off after realizing the guy's completely out of his mind. He scrambles back and locks the door. His heart's racing, breathing heavy, with his legs trembling like crazy. There is no way that psycho was just his regular neighbor. He grabs his phone to call the cops, but nothing connects. That is when he notices all the emergency alerts on his screen. They are saying unknown attacks are happening in Seoul and other unspecified areas. Everyone's being told to stay inside for safety. Then he hears chaos outside just beyond his basement apartment. He opens the window just enough to peek through. What he sees is straight up hell. People are literally tearing each other apart. He even sees his neighbor again still out there, roaming the streets and causing mayhem. That is when he suddenly gets worried about his mom and tries calling her, but there seems to be no connection. The night deepens and Minjin turns off the apartment lights and curls up in a corner under his blanket. He tries to connect to any network, but nothing happens. No signal, no updates. He turns on the TV to get some answers on this messed up situation. The news anchor talks about a string of brutal murders being committed by unidentified civilians across the country. The government is calling it an act of indiscriminate terrorism and says they are investigating the cause and whoever's responsible for it, but no real details are out yet. The anchor urges everyone to stay indoors, lock the doors, and lock the windows. Avoid all contact with the outside world. The next update comes out as well, which reveals that Bizen has fallen too. Similar violent incidents are being reported not just in Seoul, Bizen, and Incheon, but in smaller towns too. Police and military forces are being deployed, but the situation already seems out of control. Min Jun feels completely hopeless, getting hit with bomb after bomb of terrifying news. He is so stunned that it feels like he must be dreaming, like some sick nightmare he can't wake up from. Because based on what he just heard, it sounds like the world has fallen to zombies. But that stuff only happens in games and movies, and it is too ridiculous to be real. And yet everything he has seen so far all checks out. He wants answers, and sitting cooped up in this dimly lit apartment is not going to get him anywhere. He decides to step outside in order to shut the building's front door as tightly as he can behind him. But before he opens it, he sneaks a look through the peephole, making sure there are not any zombies lurking. With the coast clear, he cracks open the door and steps out. As he climbs the stairs to the ground floor, it is eerily quiet. When he reaches the building's main door, he peeks out and spots a zombie roaming the street. He shuts the door right away and locks every single bolt. His next mission is to check if there are any survivors upstairs, but with how dead silent everything is, it does not seem like anyone's up there. For now, he decides it is not worth the risk. He will wait it out until morning. He is convinced the police or military will eventually show up and rescue them. He fires the TV back up hoping for updates, but before anything meaningful comes on, the broadcast dies. With no choice, he lies down to try and get some sleep, but with all this shit going on, he can't seem to fall asleep. More than anything, there is this unsettling feeling crawling inside him. Just yesterday he wanted to end his life because the world was so damn cruel. He even wished the whole world would just burn, and now it feels like that wish came true. But that does not mean his life got any easier. In fact, now he is struggling just to stay alive. He does not even have to think too hard to realize that nothing has changed. It was hell before, and it is hell now. So all these zombies and this end of the world stuff does not scare him, because honestly, he is already as miserable as a person can get. The morning comes. The streets are littered and blocked with abandoned cars, and zombies are roaming everywhere. Min Jin finally opens the main door and dares to peek outside. The air feels wrong. There is this thick metallic scent of blood hanging over everything. It is so overpowering that he slams the door shut and locks it all back up. Going out without any preparation would be straight up suicide. He heads into the kitchen, and luckily he is stocked decently. There are 4 packs of ramen, 6-cup noodles, and some instant rice and uncooked rice too. Enough food to keep him from starving for about 2 weeks. He has got 3 bottles of water, and thankfully, the tap still works. Even the gas is running for now. If he manages his supplies right, he could probably last a month here, and that should be enough time for someone to find him. Perhaps a rescue squad might help him to get out eventually. For now, his main concern is his mother. Since he can't connect to the network, he has no way of verifying what happened to her. Right now, all he can do is hope that his mother is alive and well. He then suddenly recalls how there are 5 households living in this building. In one of them, there was a college guy who lived in the rooftop room. He remembers how that guy was a true playboy, bringing his girlfriend every Tuesday to have their little fun. Since yesterday was Tuesday, that means the couple must be stuck up there. Min-jin musters up his courage and finally starts ascending to the floors above him. Along the way, he checks every apartment on each floor, but there does not seem to be anyone there. The only apartment left is that rooftop room. As he ascends, he hopes to find the couple alive and well. Oddly enough, the rooftop door is open. Once he reaches the roof, he notices that the room the college guy lived in is also open, so naturally he walks inside. But what he sees there is something he wishes he had not seen. On the other side of the room, the girl is dead already, while that college guy has turned into one of the flesh-craving zombies. But thankfully, Min-jin's eyes do not land over the body since it is over his blind spot. The only thing he sees in front of him is shit ton of blood, which is enough to make his feet falter. He quickly ditches his plan of exploring the apartment further, and when he quietly tries to retreat, he accidentally knocks over the plant pot, grabbing the zombie's attention. Hearing those snarly growling noises inside, Min-jin starts dashing with the speed of a cheetah, but his clumsy steps cause him to trip. The zombie guy comes out of his room and pounces on our boy right away. Min-jin cleverly uses the zombie's momentum against him. He simply ducks down, lets the zombie go over his head, and pushes the bastard, making him fall off the roof. The sight is enough to steal his breath away for a moment. He just falls to his knees with barely any strength in them. Without any further ado, he runs back down after locking the door behind him, then locks himself into his apartment. He still has not gotten over that life and death encounter with that monster. He still can't come to terms with the fact that the rooftop college guy, whom he had seen as his hope, is now one of the brainless undead. And what is more devastating to him is the fact that he literally pushed him down from the top floor, leading him to his death. But then again, he tries to convince himself that it was not his fault. What he did was just self-defense. It was the college guy who attacked him first. Another night arrives, and just like the last one, Min-jun is forced to spend his time in this dark inner basement apartment. Min-jun just sits there quietly, the guilt of the college guy's death eating him from the inside out. He stands back up and heads outside to the streets, hoping to see that college guy again. In front of him is a zombie. When the zombie twirls around to face him, he notices the broken neck of the college guy hanging from its right shoulder. Seeing this, Min-jun feels both relieved and scared. He is relieved that his senior is alive, but the part that makes him fearful is the fact that this boy in front of him is no longer human. He internally apologizes to his senior and shuts the door behind him. This encounter teaches him that these guys are nothing more than zombies now. The next day arrives, making it the third day since the apocalypse took place. He has prepared a dish in the hot pot by himself. Actually, he is trying to use up the food that requires extra cooking. He intends to rely on it as long as the gas lasts, so afterwards, he can use the packaged food. There is one lingering thought stuck in his mind, which is that he should not be wasting his time waiting for help to arrive. If the food runs out before that happens, he will be doomed. For once, he is relieved that the entire building right now is devoid of zombies. It was only that rooftop college guy, but he is already out of the building now. To attract the attention of rescue teams or any survivors, he thinks of lighting a fire on the rooftop. Furthermore, he is thinking of leaving this apartment building soon. He had already given up on his life a few days ago, so even if he dies outside, it does not matter anymore. Not to mention, he survived 2 life or death encounters already, which only gave him the confidence to fight against these monsters if push comes to shove. Those zombie-like people do not scare him anymore. Suddenly, phone begins to ring miraculously. It is actually his mother calling, so he does not waste a single second before answering. His concerned mother quickly asks about his well-being. He promptly assures her that he is staying inside his house alone for now and questions her about her whereabouts. She reveals that she met the military while evacuating the day before yesterday and is currently at the shelter in Seongnam. She reassures him not to worry about her and suggests he stay inside his home. She promises to request the rescue team to get him out of there. With just a little exchange, their communication ends with the phone losing signal again. Regardless, Min-jin is glad to hear his mother's voice, which is a clear sign that she is alive. Out of the blue, he starts receiving messages. It is actually his 2 otaku friends, and since they are able to send text messages, that means they are still alive in their cribs. Seems like these guys are just too comfortable wherever they are, or else they would not be cracking jokes in the middle of this mess. His 2 friends live closer to each other, so Min-jin is sure they have helped each other in this predicament. Including his 2 boys, he has only been able to confirm his mother's survival. There is still one person left he wants to figure out if they are still alive, and that is, of course, Hanyena, that lady who always trash-talked him. Of all the people he knows, she lives the closest to his house, but Min-jun's not sure if she will ever come back to his place given how much she disliked his place the last time she visited. We flash back to the past when Song-bin is having fun along with his lackeys in Min-jun's crib. One of the guys has invited Yana over, and they joke about how she was not told that the place she is about to visit is Min-jun's house, someone she despises the most. They are all joking around while Min-jun is losing his mind, hearing that she is coming. Finally, she arrives, and when she sees this cramped place that looks like trash, she just stares at it. Literally, she is having second thoughts about crossing that boundary line and dragging her feet into this dirty and cheap place. Eventually, she decides to leave without even taking a single step inside. She finds the smell of cigarettes disgusting, the floor all sticky and musty. Furthermore, she is annoyed they did not even bother telling her that the place she is visiting is Minjun's house. Poor Minjun was left in utter disbelief, seeing how disgusted she made him feel. At that time, what made him feel miserable was not having Park Song-bin and his crew invading his house, but Han Yena's disgusted reaction upon seeing his place. In the present, as he sits on his toilet seat, he is really curious to find out if she is alive or not. But even if she has turned into a zombie, Minjun is not that heartbroken. You see, Minjun's father is the hospital director, so he is banking on the idea that his father might know which virus caused this outbreak, making him one of the potential candidates to figure out the cure for this disease. But then again, he should not be worrying more about her survival than his own. After all, being the rich brat she is, she might have already made it out alive. But then a familiar voice calls out to him. He suddenly starts to feel a little troubled upon hearing the voice. The voice on the other side of the door continues to request him to open the door. He finally recognizes the voice. It is actually Han Yena outside of his apartment. Through the window, she is trying to call him out, making sure she is not being loud. Still, her voice finally exposes her to the zombies who start to rush towards her. Seeing those bastards rushing at her, she gets even more desperate and begins yelling at him to open the door. Finally, Minjun opens the door, takes her inside, and locks it back up. The woman is so terrified that she is literally sweating. No matter how big a breath she takes, it is still not enough to calm her down. The worried Minjun checks on the girl, asking if she is okay, but he is even more confused why she ended up here of all places. Without really explaining anything, she tugged his shirt and embraced him in sudden surprise, causing a baffling reaction from our boy. The dude is literally too stunned to speak as she keeps on pulling his shirt before mustering the courage to ask what happened to her. Minjun inquires if she is alright. Yena pulls away before thanking him in full. It is the kindest she has been to him, and she even admits that without his help, she would have been zombie meat by now. Her unexpected words of gratitude really stun our boy here, causing a flustered reaction as he admits that he is happy seeing her safe and sound. Scouting her surroundings, Yena realizes that Minjun's the only one in his home. Our boy explains that his mom went out and has not returned for 3 days, but luckily he was able to get in touch with her, and she seems to be doing alright. After all, she was evacuated by a military unit, so things could not go wrong for her. Hearing that Yena is glad, since they are talking about parents, he is curious what ended up becoming of Yena's family. The girl confesses that at least her father is doing alright hiding in a safe place. As for her mother, Yena shows a concerned side, but immediately pulls back and states that her parents are doing well. She switches topics and asks for water. After all, she has not had any for a few days now. She also asks for a charger to get her phone back on track. Time swiftly passes by, but then we are introduced to a whole new problem. This girl is a water-devouring demon. She is exhausting Bro's entire rationing strategy with the way she is drinking water. Minjun is seriously concerned because if the water supply ends up getting cut off, they are going to be doomed for life. At the same time, he understands her perspective. The girl just escaped a zombie raid just to get here. Minjun decides to ask if she came here directly from her home, because it does not make sense to end up hiding in his place. Yena actually reveals that she has been surviving on her own outside for days. The girl never even got the chance to get home, which comes as a shock to Minjun. She starts off by recalling the conversation they had 3 days ago. After that, she went outside to kill some time, and that is when hell broke loose. People were terrified, running away, panicking. Not knowing what was best for her, she also ran and ended up hiding in a stairwell nearby. After a long waiting period of hoping that someone would come out and rescuing her, no one came. Minjun is astonished that Yena stayed outside defenseless by herself for 3 full days. Luckily for her, there was an unlocked door by the stairwell. A small meeting room became her saving grace, but it could not offer her much. The most she could have was a water jug, and that is how she kept herself alive for the time she was there. But when it came to the 3rd day, Yena was fully exhausted and could not keep on. She had to find food and water for her own good, so she stepped outside, hoping to catch up to home and run into the police if she is lucky, or so she thought. Because the only people she met were undead monsters chewing each other's flesh and mercilessly killing people. It was a horrifying reality, and her path to home was blocked. So she tried another way, sneaking and using the alleyway to get to her neighborhood, realizing that she had been passing by Min neighborhood as well. Unfortunately, even after using the alleyway, she found another path obstructed by zombies. There was no way she could pass through undetected, but she still mustered the courage to take the road. While running, she recalled that Minjun's place was nearby, and she vaguely remembered the location thanks to her previous visit. She was desperate for Min-jin to be alive since he safely went home 3 days ago. Not knowing what to call them, she skillfully evaded the undead until she was finally close to Min-jin's place, and that is how she got here. Min-jin is terribly surprised that she had the balls to go outside and make such bold decisions, but she is indebted to him, glad to find out that he was home or else she was gone for life. Yena gets up, exclaiming that she is feeling dirty and wants to take a shower if the water's alright. Catching a peek of her sweaty armpits, Min-jin unintentionally becomes a creep by offering her a new set of clothes to wear, but Yena takes this offer the wrong way and starts kicking the crap out of him for making such an inappropriate suggestion. Poor guy gets repeatedly called a loser while getting kicked, and he does not even know what he did wrong. Yin is tired and really wants to take a shower, but at least she is polite enough to ask him. Min-jin stumbles over his words and allows her permission to help herself. He still does not know why he suffered her wrathful kicks just now. While she is busy showering, Min-jin enters a state of contemplation. Before her arrival, he was planning to go outside and venture on his own, but now that she is stuck with him, he feels guilty for leaving her on her own and prioritizing his own needs. At the same time, if they stayed here, they would not have infinite resources. The food he stashed is only enough for one person for a month. Their resources are automatically cut in half now. The situation is really grim and forces him to be desperate. But also Bro is starstruck that the Hanjin of the high class is actually willingly taking a shower at his place. It is just as ridiculous as the apocalypse. Recalling their previous interactions at their school, he remembered how she was so cold that she did not even bother making eye contact with the guy. He was merely an insect and an eyesore to her. Min-jin is startled when she requests a set of clothes from him as she has been wearing the same outfit for 3 days. Hurtling to fulfill her request, the dude goes around looking for clothes, asking what kind of clothes she would like to wear. Yena does not really care about maintaining her fashion sense in the middle of a damn apocalypse, so she is fine with whatever. Also, she casually calls him a short king in the middle of this. Bro is catching strays for no reason. As Min-jun is lending his clothes, he is a bit embarrassed. Yena immediately finds the smell disgusting and requests something else to wear, but unfortunately all of his clothes smell the same, so it won't make a difference. Having worn her new outfit, Yena is extremely put off by the noticeable unbearable smell, but she is hoping to deal with the suffering until her clothes dry off. She advises him to spray them properly and thinks that the rumors about men being unhygienic are true when they are living on their own. It does not help that she is sensitive to smells. The girl laughs it off considering the gravity of the situation they are in. Min-jun does not know what to make of her reaction and thinks she must have lost it if she is caring about smells in the middle of a zombie apocalypse. Outside, the zombies are grunting and wreaking havoc, but inside Min-jin and Yena have just finished eating. She wants to know his thoughts about their plan and thinks that someone will come to rescue them if they wait long enough. Min-jin reveals that his own plan before her arrival was to move to a different location from tomorrow. This idea comes as ridiculous to Yena, who thinks it is stupid to abandon food and water when they have got plenty of it at his place. She is frightened because she nearly died on the way here, so she does not want to risk her life again by stepping outside. Clarifies that he is not thinking about doing something like that now that they are sticking together. He also thinks they should take Yena's approach and wait for someone to rescue them in the meantime. But then Yena is terrified to admit that they run the risk of running out of resources. Honestly, I do not even get her at this point. Does she want our boy to go outside on his own? Yena is confused and clearly not making sense, while Min-jin explains that they could easily break into the houses of the upper floors and collect their resources to further increase their chances of survival. However, there's a chance they will run into the infected zombies, since he knows that only the rooftop is safe from harm, and if that does end up happening, if they run out of food, there would be no other logical choice but to step outside. Yena is horrified and strongly rejects the idea even though Min-jin tries his best to explain that it is necessary for them to go in a situation like that. For now, she does not want to think about any dark possible futures like that. She also thinks he is only advocating going outside because he has not seen what the world looks like now. The zombies are rampant and they are mowing down any human nearby. Min-jun argues that her getting to this neighborhood is an impressive accomplishment already, and if she traveled a kilometer full of zombies, then maybe their chances are not so bad. Yena is shocked to see him actually come forward with his words instead of being frightened to his core. Min-jin counters that at the end of the day they are facing zombies, and he has personally confirmed that a single bite can turn anyone into one. However, he does not really care much about his life, so he does not have that kind of fear if things go south. In his life, nothing would change even if he died. What a sad confession. Instead of comforting or consoling him, Jaina isolates him and tells him that he is only thinking about his side of things. She does not want to become a zombie and wants to complete her education abroad, which is a hilarious confession because who is going to be teaching her? Professor Undead Walker. Min-jin recalls that Yena impressively survived thanks to avoiding contact with the zombies. So maybe that is what they need to focus on. Even more, he adds that not all zombies have the ability to sprint in their direction. Some of them are grievously injured and walk slowly, while others can't even do that and just seem totally immobile. Also, even with their running speed considered, it is slower than a regular person, and that means they have got an excellent chance of at least outrunning the zombies. To give her an example, Minjin brings up the game of tag. He thinks it is easy to think of it like they were playing the game, and it may add to the excitement factor instead of fear. Yenna looks at him with the most dead eyes, unable to believe that this man is casually suggesting a zombie apocalypse, a giant game of tag. They stop messing around with Yenna confessing that she is done for the day and wants to sleep. She has been sleepless for days after all. Minjin decides to find them a bunch of blankets and casually sets up their beds together. Yenna is suspicious of his scheme and orders him to sleep near the bathroom. Bro is not having it. He reminds her that it is his place, and he does not want to sleep near the bathroom door. Seeing as she can't fight back, Yenna agrees and realizes she is in a stranger's home. She agrees to sleep near that spot instead. Her words get even more ridiculous as she casually remarks she is going to sleep outside on the stairwell. Minjun is having issues understanding her and tries to lure her back in, but Yenna reminds him that it is his place, so he gets to sleep comfortably. Minjun emphasizes that he does not want her to go outside. Yenna laughs and finds it hilarious that he took the bait from a single joke. She is okay with sleeping in the kitchen. They go on back and forth, and eventually our boy loses the petty argument and ends up sleeping near the bathroom door anyway. He is still grateful to be under a safe shelter because that matters the most of all. And though he appreciates Yenna's presence, he also thinks she yaps a lot, which is funny. The night continues with zombies grumbling outside. Yenna's too distraught and can't seem to sleep. She randomly calls him out, alarming him to get up. To his shock, Yenna personally requests that he come sleep in her room because she is afraid of being alone by herself. I genuinely like this soft scene, showing the characters vulnerable even against their personalities. And well, that is what happens. Our boy gets to her room and sits in the corner hearing the zombies outside. She gets to sleep while he is out here caring for her. Aina explains that she would heard this kind of terrifying sound many times while she was hiding outside, and yet she is still yet to get used to it. It is simply terrifying beyond comparison. In her pitiful state, she confesses missing her mother, but our boy sits there waiting in silence, not saying a single word. Morning comes around, and the zombies are still loud as ever. Luckily, Yenna ended up sleeping soundly while Minjin is suffering because she has been knocked out for many hours. It is interesting to him how the same girl who was terrified of going to sleep is now sleeping like a log. It is 9 in the morning, causing Yenna to wake up at last. She is refreshed, but also surprised to see him putting on a jacket to go outside. Minjin explains that he wants to go and check up on the rooftop to see how things are holding up for them. Immediately, she is afraid that an infected zombie might pop out of nowhere and attack him on the rooftop despite him having previously confirmed otherwise. But Minjin treats the matter casually and states that he will avoid that fate with care. He tries inviting her along only to be met with a roaring rejection, so she is supposed to stay here while he is on his way out. Minjin ventures into the stairwell and suddenly notices a crack in the glass that had not been there before. This is bad news because even glass has its limit, and it won't hold out for long. To his shock, Yenna's voice comes from behind as she admits that the place stinks. He turns around surprised to see her following him out of nowhere. She has a bad feeling, but the couple decides to venture to the top. Their Minjin is utterly horrified to find the corpse of the rooftop guy's girlfriend. She has been slaughtered, and seeing her meet a grim fate like this, the young man offers a prayer. Yenna had been waiting outside, and she is relieved that no one was inside. Minjin shares the tragic news and argues that it is best not for them to go inside. They discuss a strategy of lighting a fire in the hopes of a rescue helicopter catching them. But even that requires specific timing to be executed successfully. Yenna recommends they create something in advance, something that will readily go off the second they hear a helicopter. Minjin counters that the fire won't be noticeable enough for the helicopter. She then wonders if they should try and scout other survivors from around the place. This idiot actually starts screaming to grab someone's attention, which is a terrible strategy as pointed out by Minjin as he warns her about the shattered glass door, and that is how the couple ended up having to survive on their own in the same place. While they are stuck in alone, the upper girl inquires about his multi type. In simple terms, it is basically a personality test consisting of 16 different personalities. You can take it online yourself. Anyway, a guy like him has not heard of it, and he strikes her as the type who does not use Instagram either. And even if he did, she is willing to bet her life he does not have anything more than 50 followers. The chick is out here grilling him for free. She wonders what he likes to enjoy in his life, and when he talks about gaming and how he enjoys the zombie game called Rage Z, she laughs at him. She even jokes that there is no longer a need to play a zombie game anymore now that their entire world is already experiencing a real-life apocalypse. Back to the multi test, she thinks he would be an introvert in that category. After all, he is a shut-in who does not do anything social for the rest of his life. She asks if he is more of a spontaneous person or a planning type, which is yet another category on the Mebti scale. Minjin is out here thinking that this girl is a real chatterbox because they could practically die tomorrow, and yet her yapping won't stop. Since he does not know anything about Mebti, he does not know what to make of her personality. The fact of the matter is this is the same girl who did not even bat an eye on him before the apocalypse. However, it remains unchanged that he is stuck with an old crush. She playfully kicks him and keeps on talking over and over, while the introvert Minjin wonders if this experience is a good thing. He would never have imagined finding her in a way like this. The guy is completely zoned out even though he never expected this outcome to come true. Realizing that he is lost in his thoughts, she roars for attention, calling his name and questioning why she is ignoring her. Minjin gets kicked and snaps out of it, realizing he was spacing out. This comes as a serious shock to Yena, who is offended by the thought of a guy spacing out in front of her glamour. And I mean, she is kind of right. A few days zoom past just like that. She was casually kicking her feet while enjoying reading a comic. Yena asks if he is finished with the laundry since she is so hungry. The girl is basically a deadweight who is doing nothing but relying on him to the point even Minjin is fed up and wants to escape on his own. He really does not want to be her slave who is even forced to do her laundry for her, which is also befitting of his personality type for being unable to express his emotions clearly. With electricity gone, he has to wash clothes by hand. Thankfully, the water is working fine, but the food is a different story. Having wrapped up everything, he tells her that he is off to leave. Yena reminds him not to be late. She wants him to return within 30 minutes, even threatening him if he dares to be late. Minjin is really at a loss here, but he does go outside. His current routine consists of patrolling the neighborhood at least once a day using safe paths. Having studied the behavior of the infected zombies, he has come to the conclusion that they behave just like the ones inside the games. It is a case similar to rabies. They only attack living humans and refuse to target the dead or the infected like their own. Also, he has noticed that their vision is stunted and they can't notice you from far away. But this characteristic varies from zombie to zombie. Their hearing senses are extremely sensitive, so it is necessary for Minjin to tread lightly. Finally, they seem to despise the sunlight and are not around as much in the day compared to the night. It is only because of that crucial detail that he thinks is absolutely critical for them to avoid the nights. One more detail strikes out to him. The behavior of these infected zombies is quite similar to the game he plays. He wonders if he is the one being delusional in comparing the two situations together, or maybe it is just a funny coincidence. But if that is the case, if the zombies are really the same as the ones in the game, then Minjin fears the worst has yet to come, and soon the world will surely come to its end. Back at his apartment building, Yena's bored out of her mind reading comics. She does not know what to do, and she is even more frustrated that Minjin is late again. Her annoyance grows after noticing that he has been denying her a lot lately, which she believes needs to be fixed soon. Wow, she really does treat him like a slave. To her astonishment, Yena hears the sound of a helicopter coming from outside. It may seem hopeful, but in the end it is not like she can do anything worthwhile. The last time the helicopter came, these guys executed their strategy with the fire and even begged for help, but that strategy absolutely failed, and so they gave up on it entirely. More time passes, and now Yena is really starting to get nervous. She is anxious and biting her nails in anticipation of Minjin's arrival. An entire hour has passed since his departure, and he is not home yet, which is enough to cause her worry. She wonders if he got attacked or something. To mask her feeling of fear, she even promises to beat him up when he returns. She thinks this guy really must have some kind of attraction to getting hit and only then following orders. Also, Yena is fully convinced she is not going to allow him to leave from tomorrow morning onwards. But here's the funny thing, she ended up waiting until the sun went down and bro still did not return. Yena's worried sick and hoping that he is not dead somewhere outside. With the sundown, even more infected zombies will come hunting for him. She sulks in terror, almost accepting that he is no longer coming back home. The girl pleads for his return, terrified that she may be left all alone again. Fortunately for her, our boy had a heart of gold and came back. He wants to show her something, but he was not expecting her to look so devastated. Yena's eyes are tear-filled, and she is at the verge of crying. He did leave her for more than 3 hours after all. The first thing she does is punch him for being stupid, but he stops her to show her what he found. He recovered a leaflet from the helicopter earlier. He personally went out to collect all of them, which caused him to be so late. Yena is startled when she reads the leaflet, unable to comprehend what the hell is going on. It is a lockdown announcement to fully lock down Gangbuk region by the 10th of the month, and it is troublesome for them because that is where they are. With only 1 day left, there is just no way for them to survive. Min Jun tells her to also read the back of the leaflet, which talks about the safety status of the region. It turns out that their neighborhood has a much lower infection rate compared to the rest of the region. There are some places that are safe, while others are classed as very dangerous. Basically, you are stupid if you venture in those neighborhoods type of thing. The worst part is that their religion is destined to reach the levels of dangerous as well. So their initial plan to stay put in one place is now working against them. Yena questions if they can even leave the region with the time they have got left. She is all about her questions right now, but while she is yapping about, Minjin is doing the heavy lifting with his brain for the both of them, and wonders how terrifying a very dangerous area must be. Though he doubts the words on the leaflet, he still can't do anything but accept the information he is being given. Knowing that places like Negan and Weijongbu are out of the question, they won't be able to escape north of Seal. Minjin declares their objective. They must utilize every opportunity to get to the Han River. The fastest way to get there is through Shangdong or Dongdaemun, but since those areas specifically seem dangerous, they will have to trust their luck using the eastern area. Since the time is short, they have to make haste now. Minjin thinks they should target Yangshandong region, which is safe even if they deterred a bit. He also places faith in the military or the police keeping the safe zones intact, which means there is a better chance of survival. Yena is at a loss for words because of his excellent strategy. She really only took him for a loser up to this point, but turns out he can really plot his way out of a hole. Minjin is not in the mood to joke around and emphasizes the need to leave immediately. Yena is hesitant and does not seem to be prepared to leave. She wants to eat dinner after all. Even Minjin believes it would be smarter to leave early in the morning since the zombies get aggressive at night. So all she is really skeptical of their chances to even escape into a safe zone. Yaina begs to hold out for a couple more days until someone eventually rescues them. Her naive approach causes Minjin to be more assertive with her. He coldly reminds her that he is okay with leaving her here to die a miserable death in the basement. But he is going to be leaving tomorrow no matter what. The girl really does not have a response and realizes she has to concede. She accepts and turns to pack her stuff. Our boy gives her directions to a carrier bag she could use. The following day, the sun is out, and it is time for them to leave. Even though she does not want to, Yena has to. Also, Minjin questions if she is fine with leaving her dad's hospital behind. He remembers that her father works at the hospital after all, so he thinks she should at least check on him. In response, Yena shows a puzzled and worried look. She then fakes her expression and argues that they do not need to do that because her parents already escaped gangbucks safely. This is the truth that she could not tell him at first, the truth of her own parents leaving her behind. Minjin is at a loss for words, but he does not say anything. They go outside, maintaining a slow and sneaky stride. He is the one to lead the way and clear the paths for them. This way they clear a street even with zombies rampaging about. They keep on walking until they fully exit the neighborhood. Yaina is actually shocked at how easy it has been for them to escape so far. She thinks her reaction from earlier caused her to be frightened beyond reality. Though that is the case, our boy still warns her to be careful against the dark places since zombies get really active. While it is true that the zombies do not aggressively attack during sunlight, that does not mean the same for each and every zombie. They have been walking for a while, and she is surprised at how far the Yangchengdong territory is. Minjun encourages her to keep on walking even though she is complaining about not having a bike for these types of situations. Though our boy agrees with her ideas, he still reminds her that they can't use shared scooters because of the connection issues. But the really interesting part, he observes that all the bicycles are nowhere to be found. Yena suddenly requests a 5-minute break as they have covered a bit of distance, and she is tired. Her legs are hurting. Minjin thinks about it and teases her by suggesting going to a cafe for some coffee. His audacity is starting to get on her nerves ever since they left his place. She is shouting at him, so he tells her to calm down unless she wants to become dead meat. More time passes by and they are still not there yet. Minjin has been smartly dragging her along by telling her that they are almost there. He continued to walk and listen to her complaints. The dude is treating her like a child and does not even allow her to drink water. Both of them end up arriving in front of a barricade to separate the regions. Minjin explains that they finally arrived, and seeing a large barricade like this, he is more than certain that they're going to be okay. Yena celebrates in the hopes of checking for survivors, but something is bothering him. The main character is really bummed out why there are not any guards or onlookers around the barricade to make sure it is safe. At the same time, Yena has not seen or heard of an infected zombie yet, so the place seems okay so far. Suddenly, she suggests that he hide for a bit so they can rest. They have been walking without a break after all, but Minjin does not allow that either. This man is training to become David Goggins. He also tells her to stop being so dramatic and simply follow along. His words are becoming colder, and Yena even curses him out for his audacity. Well, that is how they ended up having their little argument at the beginning. Tears are streaming down her face while Minjin stares at her coldly. To his shock, she actually follows through and apologizes. But that is not why he was shocked just now. Our boy is terrified because zombies are sprinting towards them at full speed. Yena screams at the sight of the zombies while he grabs her hand and makes a run for it at full speed. Luckily, they are faster than the zombies, but there is no explanation why a safe neighborhood is teeming with the undead. Minjin suggests running for now and luckily spots a survivor just ahead. The man leads them all inside, and they quickly try to seal the gate shut. Yena is shocked that he is doing so much for her, all the while instructing Yena to just hide. With the help of the other guy, they were able to shut the place down. But unfortunately, the zombie broke through the barricade. With the barricade gone, he tells them to run for their lives. Seeing Yena being terrified, Minjun instructs her to run to the back. Both of them are bolting ahead with a zombie chasing after them. He helps her get up on top of some furniture. Unfortunately, they have to make a tall descent to get to the next gate. Luckily, the duo secures the landing, but Yenna landed terribly and sprained her foot as a consequence. Bro is not having a good day. He is dealing with so much of her shenanigans just for the girl to fail on him again. The zombies are nearing the distance and about to reach them. At this moment, a decision must be made. The bullied boy remembers his past. He remembers Yenna's words to him. She motivated him to fight back, to stand up against the ones who bullied him. And he also remembers that if he keeps on living this way, his life will be miserable. So in this moment, he chooses to be brave. He takes out a blade, ready to accept his death, and to Yenna's shock, he stands to protect her. Even though death may be knocking at his door, Jung Min Jun refuses to die a coward's death.